My name is Bisola Miriam, and today is day 34 of my 60-day series, and today I'm basically talking about two personalities, two caregivers. Two personalities, two caregivers. So, what exactly do I refer to as two personalities, two caregivers? Basically, what I'm talking to you today is a situation whereby you have a great woman. How is it going? All the best with it. So the what I'm talking to you about is a situation whereby you have two different caregivers in your life. Maybe you have a father and a mother, or you have two people who play the role of parent or caregivers in your life. And in this situation, these two people are not exactly the same. Basically, one is narcissistic and the other is codependent, meaning that one is very accommodating, very loving, and the other is very, very toxic. And so, when you have a situation like this, there is the tendency to want to think that because you have two different caregivers, okay, you may think or assume that you would take the personalities of these two people in equal measure. It is never so. So, most of the time, people either take more of the narcissistic parent or caregiver, or more of the codependent parent or caregiver. So you can never have 50-50, or you can never have these two personalities, you know, being dominant in your personality or in the way in which you show up in the world. You would only have one of the two being dominant while the other one is recessive. Think about it genetically speaking. When we talk about genetics, we always talk about dominant gene and the recessive gene. So when you think about your childhood, so if you have two parents, for instance, a father and a mother, if you were not raised in a single parent family, the question for from me to you today is, what were the personality types of these two caregivers in your life? What was the father figure like? What was the mother figure like? Speaking about, when we think about, an heteronormative kind of relationship where there is man woman, but it's in other kind of relationships where there are two people playing the role of caregivers in the life of a child or children in your life. So I want you to put this in perspective and think about your own upbringing. And so a lot of times we do not pay attention to the fact that our childhood and the way in which we were raised, especially if you were not raised by one person, it is easier for you to say, okay, I look like this person. If you were raised by one person, it becomes a little bit tricky when you had two caregivers in your life, a father and a mother. And so you need to then sit down and analyze in the sense that, who was the loving caregiver in your life? Who was the very dismissive caregiver? Who was the codependent type? Who was the toxic type or the narcissistic type? These two people sometimes might not be the same, and in other relationships or in other caregiving, relationship, okay, you may have a situation whereby the father and the mother are the same, but in most cases we have, children taking after one of the two parents, sometimes after the narcissistic parent. In some other instances, they may take other, they may take after the very kind parent. Now, this is one thing I also need you to understand. Now, when you are in an intimate relationship with somebody and you begin to see that, so let's say you have a partner or you are in a dating relationship with somebody and the person is mostly toxic, and occasionally this person can be kind. So let me give a case study or a scenario. Think about a man who plays the role of a provider so well, okay? Because this person plays the role of a provider so well, that doesn't mean that the person is totally kind and loving. Consistency, as I always say, is what you should look out for in behavior, okay? So if you see that that person is very kind when it comes to very, very much of a provider. This person would run around to provide breakfast, lunch, dinner, and this person occasionally can even be helpful within the house in, you know, at the home front. And so it is possible for you to get confused and say, this person is actually a very good person. Now, the next question would then be, what is the consistent behavior that this person displays? Does this person play the role of a caregiver so well and also curse and also remain, or is very toxic or very abusive, very aggressive, or even sexually violent or sexually immoral or physically violent? Think about it. Now, these two things are not consistent. I mean, they don't, this is just like a case of fire and water. They do not meet. They are not friends. They're just two opposite sides, two parallel lines, they can never meet. And so it is very crucial that you think about the fact that this person may have been raised by two caregivers with two different personalities. It is possible that that intimate partner of yours or that person you're dating was raised by two different caregivers with two different personalities. For instance, maybe the mother was the very kind one and the father was the very toxic and abusive type. I remember a very personal story, and I remember once talking to somebody who said, "Oh, the mother of the person I was committed to in a relationship at the time was very loving, that everybody used to talk about this person's mother. So much more that, this person had a mother who could give her eyes to make sure that someone is fine, right? But this person had a father who would not do 1% of what the mother would do. But at the end of the day, this person took more of the father's traits and less of the mother's traits. So in every relationship, it is whether it's a friendship or a work relationship, whatever, consistency is very important. I mean, is this person consistently kind? Or is this person consistently unkind? Or is this person displaying kindness because of a sudden development? And that's why it is very crucial that you ask questions. You're dating somebody, don't even just ask questions. Do a lot of observation. When I say observation, look, shine your eyes. I mean, observe. What are the parents of this person like? Now, that somebody has a narcissistic mother or father does not mean that the person is narcissistic. I already explained that at the, from on day, in the day 31 to day 33 of this series. I talked about the fact that yes, someone can be raised by a terrible parent or a narcissistic parent and still turn out good. So what you should look out for is the person that you are committed to, or that you want to commit to, or that you are in love with, or you want to be close to, right? When you think about the person's nature and personality, irrespective of the fact that the person may have two parents with two different personalities, for instance, a toxic mother and a non-toxic father, or a toxic father and a non-toxic mother, what your own business is, who is this person? What personality trait is dominant in this person that you're friend to, committed to as a lover, or you are intimate with, irrespective of the person's, um, you know, um, irrespective of other things that you may want to think about. Think critically about how the personality types of the people or the caregivers who raised this person may be impacting the personality of this person, especially the way in which this person shows up in your relationship with him or her or they or theirs, depending on what that person identifies as. And I hope that you have found this really useful. As you can see, I am wearing the Idea for You merch and I'm really excited. I'm excited about my book launch, which is just 2 weeks around the corner, May 31st precisely. And I'll be dropping the link to RSVP in the comments. And of course, you can also use my bio if you're watching on Instagram to get the link to RSVP or attend my book launch. And moving on, in addition to that, I also want you to simply visit my website if you're watching on other platforms and register to attend this event. While I am encouraging you to attend this event in person, I also understand the constraints that you may have. And so there is the option to join online if you cannot attend in person. So please make sure you do that. And this project is not a one day thing. The Idea for You movement has come to stay. The Idea for You movements basically represent a movement to speak for and advocate for people who as victims of domestic violence. And I consider this a sister project under the Left Handers Africa organization. And every day, our goal is to keep talking about domestic violence. And so, the very first thing I want you to do is, if you're on Instagram, please follow us on Instagram at IDay4You. And if you follow follow us on Instagram to get to know about our upcoming project and the things that we intend to do. The goal this year is to print 10,000 copies of this book and donate them for free at strategic African communities. And so we need your help to make this a reality. The goal is to actually donate these books during our yearly conference, the December to Remember conference in December. But the plan is to start raising funds and to start getting all the printing and publications done even from the first week in June, which is the week after the launch date of this movement and the book itself, or the books. And so we need your support. We need you to make this a reality. And every year, the goal is to continue to print 10,000 and more, and 20,000, 30, 100,000 copies. And we'll keep increasing that way on a yearly basis so that many more people can have access to these stories, this truth. And this is a community story. This is something that we all can relate to or relate with. And the best way to help other victims of intimate partner violence, domestic violence, and other forms of violence is to get the news out there, get the message out there so that a lot of people can be informed. I remember the UI, there's this saying that for a mind that knows is a mind that is free. And I hope you join us today. Thank you. Go to bisolamiriam.com/becoming BM, and we look forward to having you at the book launch and also becoming a publishing partner in this great course. Thank you and God bless you. Bye.